I once heard a man say, "Someday, I'll get around to it." And you know what? That someday never came. Years passed, opportunities slipped away, and all that was left was regret. Now, let me ask you, how many times have you told yourself, "I'll start tomorrow," but then tomorrow comes and you push it to the next day and the next? That's how dreams fade, not because we lack ability, but because we refuse to take action. Success doesn't wait for the perfect moment. It responds to effort. The question is, will you take action today, or will you let another day slip through your fingers? Nothing changes until you take action. You can have the best ideas, the greatest plans, and all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't move, if you don't take that first step, nothing will happen. Action is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone with incredible potential, someone who could do great things, but they never quite get there? It's not because they're not smart enough. It's not because they don't have the resources. It's because they never take action. They hesitate. They overthink. They wait for the perfect moment that never comes. Meanwhile, someone else, perhaps with less talent, less knowledge, but more determination, goes ahead and does something. And that's the person who makes progress. That's the person who sees results. Action creates change, not thoughts, not intentions, not dreams, just action. You can sit in a room all day and think about success, but unless you step out and do something about it, you'll stay in the same place. This is why so many people get stuck in a cycle of frustration. They read books, they attend seminars, they watch motivational videos, and yet their lives remain the same. Why? Because they're waiting for a feeling to push them into action. But let me tell you something. Action is not a result of motivation. Motivation is a result of action. Have you ever noticed how hard it is to start something, but once you do, it gets easier? That's because action creates momentum. The first step is always the hardest, but once you take it, the next one comes easier. It's like pushing a heavy cart. At first, it resists. It doesn't want to move, but the moment you apply enough force, it starts rolling. And once it rolls, it takes much less effort to keep it moving. That's how life works. That's how success works. Now here's what stops most people: fear and doubt. What if I fail? What if I don't know enough? What if it doesn't work out? And so they sit there stuck in the what ifs, paralyzed by possibilities that may never even happen. But let me ask you, what's worse? Taking a step and facing some challenges along the way, or never moving at all and living with regret? Because one thing is certain, if you don't take action, nothing changes. You remain exactly where you are. People say they want success. They say they want to improve their lives. But when it comes time to act, they hesitate. They want guarantees. They want certainty. But life doesn't work like that. You don't get a guarantee before you start. You create certainty by taking action. The more you do, the more you learn. The more you learn, the better you get. And the better you get, the more confident you become. Confidence doesn't come from sitting around and hoping. It comes from doing. Some people wait for inspiration. They think they need to feel a certain way before they can start. But action isn't about feelings, it's about discipline. There are days when you won't feel like doing the work. There are days when doubt will creep in, when distractions will tempt you, when comfort will whisper, "Take it easy." But those are the moments that define you, because successful people don't act based on how they feel. They act based on their commitment. They know that feelings are temporary, but results come from consistency. Think about the most successful people in any field. Do you think they felt like showing up every day? Do you think they always had the energy, the motivation, the perfect circumstances? Of course not. But they acted anyway. They understood that progress is made in the moments when you push yourself, not when you wait for inspiration to strike. And here's the beauty of action. It leads to clarity. So many people hesitate because they don't have everything figured out. But the truth is, you don't need to know the whole plan before you begin. You just need to start. The path reveals itself as you walk. You'll learn as you go. You'll make adjustments along the way. But if you never start, you never learn. Look around. The people who make things happen are not the ones with the best ideas. They are the ones who execute. They take risks, they make mistakes, but they keep moving forward. And in the process, they improve, they grow, they succeed. So the question is, what's stopping you? Fear? Doubt? Waiting for the perfect time? Let me tell you, the perfect time doesn't exist. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is right now. Action creates change. It builds confidence. It turns dreams into reality. And the only way to move forward is to take that first step, right now. Too often, people look at success as a massive mountain they must climb in a single leap. They see the end goal, the big picture, and feel overwhelmed. They think, how can I possibly get there? And because it feels so daunting, they never start. But the truth is, you don't have to see the whole staircase to take the first step. Small steps, taken consistently, lead to massive results over time. Imagine someone who wants to get in shape. They look at themselves in the mirror and say, I need to lose 50 pounds. That goal feels huge. It feels like an impossible task. So they put it off. They wait for motivation, for the perfect plan, for the right moment. But that moment never comes. Meanwhile, someone else, instead of focusing on losing 50 pounds, decides to simply walk for 10 minutes a day. That's it, just 10 minutes. It doesn't seem like much, but it's a start. The next week, they increase it to 15 minutes, then 20. Then they add some strength training. Before they know it, months have passed, and they've lost the weight. What seemed impossible became possible because they started small and stayed consistent. This applies to every area of life. Success is never built in a single day, a single decision, or a single action. It's built in the small, seemingly insignificant steps you take every day. The problem is most people dismiss these small actions. They think, what's the point of saving $5 today? It's not going to make me rich. What's the point of reading 10 pages of a book? It won't make me an expert. What's the point of doing 10 push-ups? It won't make me fit. And so, they do nothing. But small actions, repeated over time, compound into incredible results. Consider someone who wants to start a business. They see entrepreneurs making millions, and they feel stuck. They compare their beginning to someone else's peak and think, I'll never get there. But every successful entrepreneur started small. They took one action, then another. Maybe they started by reading a book on business. Then they reached out to a mentor. Then they built a simple product. Then they made their first sale. Step by step, their business grew. And one day they looked back and realized how far they had come. But it all started with a small step. There's a reason why most people don't take these small steps. It's because small steps don't feel exciting. They don't feel powerful in the moment. We live in a world that glorifies instant results, overnight success, and quick fixes. But real success doesn't happen overnight. It happens in the small, disciplined actions you take every day. The problem is, these small actions don't give you an immediate reward. When you go to the gym once, you don't see any changes. When you eat one healthy meal, your body looks the same. When you read one chapter of a book, your knowledge doesn't seem much greater. But over time, these small efforts compound. Think about water dripping onto a rock. One drop doesn't do anything. 100 drops don't seem to make a difference. But over time, drop after drop, the rock begins to wear down. The water, though soft and gentle, eventually carves through stone. That's the power of small, consistent action. One of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting to feel motivated before they start. They think they need some grand inspiration to take action. But the truth is motivation follows action, not the other way around. The more you take small steps, the more progress you see, and that progress fuels motivation. If you wait until you feel like taking action, you'll never start. But if you commit to taking small steps, no matter how you feel, you'll build momentum. And momentum is what leads to lasting success. Let's go back to the person who wants to get in shape. At first, they force themselves to go for a walk. It doesn't feel exciting, they don't see results immediately, but they keep going. After a few weeks, they start noticing changes. Their clothes fit better, they feel more energetic. That little bit of progress makes them want to keep going. Now they're not forcing themselves anymore, they want to work out. They're excited to see how much further they can go. That's how motivation is created, by taking action first. Another mistake people make is underestimating the power of daily habits. They assume that big results require big actions, but success is not about making one massive change. It's about making small, smart choices every day. One healthy meal won't transform your body, but eating healthy every day will. Reading one book won't make you a genius, but reading for 20 minutes every day will expand your mind in ways you can't imagine. Making one small investment won't make you wealthy, but consistently investing over time will create financial freedom. This is the reason why so many people fail to achieve their goals. They get excited about big changes, but they don't stick with the small actions that create those changes. They start a new workout routine, but when they don't see immediate results, they quit. They start saving money, but when they don't get rich overnight, they stop. They start learning a new skill, but when it feels slow, they give up. The key to success is understanding that small steps taken consistently lead to massive results. So, what small step can you take today? You don't need to know the whole path. You don't need to see every step ahead of you. You just need to start. Success is built one action at a time. It's not about giant leaps. It's about steady progress. The most successful people in the world are not the ones who take the biggest steps. They are the ones who take small, consistent steps every single day. And over time, those small steps add up to something extraordinary. Discipline is the foundation of all success. It is the ability to act regardless of how you feel. Too often, people wait for the perfect conditions, the right mood, or a burst of motivation before they take action. But here's the truth. If you rely on feelings to determine your actions, you will never be consistent. Feelings fluctuate. Some days you feel inspired, energized, and ready to take on the world. Other days you feel tired, discouraged, and unsure. But discipline is what carries you through those tough days. Discipline means showing up even when you don't feel like it. It means doing the work not because you are in the mood, but because it must be done. Think about successful athletes. Do you think they wake up every morning excited to train? Of course not. There are days when they don't want to push their bodies, when they would rather stay in bed, when the pain of training feels unbearable, but they do it anyway, not because they feel like it, but because they are committed to a goal. They understand that greatness is built on consistency, and consistency is built on discipline. The same applies to business, relationships, health, and every other aspect of life. If you only act when you feel like it, you will never reach your full potential. The people who achieve great things are not those who always feel motivated. They are those who take action, regardless of how they feel. They understand that discipline is what separates success from failure. Most people make the mistake of thinking that motivation comes first, then action follows. They wait for motivation to strike before they do the work. But the truth is, action creates motivation, not the other way around. When you force yourself to take that first step, even when you don't feel like it, you build momentum, and that momentum fuels motivation. The more you do, the more motivated you become. Consider a person who wants to get in shape. They tell themselves, I'll start when I feel ready. But days pass, then weeks, then months, and they never feel ready, so they never start. Now, compare that to someone who decides, I don't care if I feel like it or not, I'm going to the gym today. That person gets up, puts on their workout clothes, and exercises. At first it's tough, but afterward, they feel good. They feel accomplished. And that small action motivates them to do it again the next day. Discipline is the ability to push through resistance. And resistance will always be there. You will always have reasons not to act. You'll always be able to come up with excuses. I'm too tired. I don't have time. I don't feel ready. But discipline silences those excuses. It says, do it anyway. Because the truth is, if something is important to you, you make time for it. If it matters, you push through discomfort. Now you might be wondering, how do you develop discipline? The answer is simple: by doing what you say you will do, even when it's hard. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you strengthen your discipline. Every time you push past resistance, you become stronger. And the more disciplined you become, the easier it gets. Start small. If you tell yourself you're going to wake up early, wake up early. If you say you're going to read 10 pages a day, read 10 pages. If you commit to exercising, exercise. These small acts of discipline build confidence. They train your mind to obey your decisions instead of your feelings. One of the biggest benefits of discipline is that it creates freedom. At first that might seem like a contradiction. People think of discipline as restrictive, as something that takes away their freedom. But the opposite is true. Without discipline, you become a slave to your impulses. You procrastinate, you avoid challenges, and you stay stuck. But with discipline, you control your life. You decide what happens. You don't wait for circumstances to be perfect. You create your own success. Think about financial discipline. If you spend money recklessly, you may feel free in the moment, but in the long run, you trap yourself in financial struggle. On the other hand, if you practice discipline, saving, investing, spending wisely, you create real freedom. You give yourself options. You gain control over your future. The same is true in health. If you eat whatever you want, whenever you want, it may feel like freedom, but eventually poor health will limit you. You will feel tired, sluggish, and unwell. But if you have the discipline to eat right and exercise, you create lasting health and energy. That's real freedom. Discipline is what allows you to build a life on your terms. It helps you break free from bad habits, distractions, and excuses. And once you develop it, it becomes a part of who you are. You no longer have to force yourself to take action. You just do it because it's what you've trained yourself to do. So ask yourself, are you letting your feelings dictate your actions? Are you waiting for motivation instead of taking control? If so, it's time to shift your mindset. Make discipline your foundation. Decide that you will act, no matter what. Push through discomfort. Follow through on your commitments. Do what must be done, whether you feel like it or not. Because success doesn't come from doing what's easy. It comes from doing what's necessary. The more you practice discipline, the stronger it gets. And the stronger it gets, the more unstoppable you become. So don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start now, take action, and let discipline guide you to success. Regret is one of the heaviest burdens a person can carry. It lingers, it haunts, and it reminds you of what could have been if only you had taken action when you had the chance. The pain of effort, the struggle of discipline, the discomfort of stepping out of your comfort zone, all of these are temporary. They fade. But the pain of regret, that can last a lifetime. Think about the moments in your life when you hesitated. Maybe there was an opportunity to start a business, but you waited, and now someone else has taken the idea and turned it into a success. Maybe you wanted to get in shape, but you kept postponing your workouts, and now you look back and realize how much healthier and stronger you could have been if only you had started earlier. Maybe there was a person you wanted to express your feelings to, but you let fear hold you back, and now that opportunity is gone. Regret isn't just about what you did wrong. It's about what you never did at all. It's about the chances you didn't take, the dreams you let fade, and the potential you never realized. And the hardest part? You can't go back in time and fix it. The clock keeps moving forward, and all you're left with is the question, what if? On the other hand, the effort you put into chasing your dreams, the discipline you develop to push through challenges, and the struggles you face along the way, all of these are difficult, yes, but they pass. The soreness from the gym fades. The exhaustion from late nights working on your goals disappears. The discomfort of stepping out of your comfort zone is temporary. But the satisfaction of knowing you gave it your all, that you didn't let fear or laziness stop you, that feeling stays with you forever. Too many people spend their lives avoiding discomfort, thinking that if they stay in their safe little bubble, they will be happy. But here's the reality. Avoiding discomfort now only leads to more pain later. The pain of discipline is measured in minutes or hours. The pain of regret is measured in years. The pain of effort lasts for a moment. The pain of knowing you wasted your potential lasts for a lifetime. So many people wish they could go back in time and tell their younger selves to take action. If only I had started investing earlier. If only I had pursued my passion. If only I had taken that risk. But you don't get to rewrite the past. You only get to write the future. And the only way to avoid adding more regrets to your life is to take action now. Think of someone who wanted to learn a new skill, maybe playing an instrument or learning a language. They kept telling themselves, I'll start next week. But next week turned into next month. Next month turned into next year. And before they knew it, 5 years had passed and they were still at the same place, still wishing they had started. Now they look at someone else who started 5 years ago, who stuck with it, who took small daily actions, and they realize how much progress they could have made. The difference wasn't talent. It wasn't luck. It was action. Time is going to pass anyway. Whether you take action or not, 5 years from now will still come. The question is, do you want to look back with pride, knowing you made progress, or do you want to look back with regret, wishing you had started sooner? People often say, I don't have time, but the truth is, time is not the problem, priorities are. Everyone has 24 hours in a day. The question is, how are you using yours? Are you spending your time moving toward your goals, or are you wasting it on distractions? Are you taking small steps every day to build a better future, or are you letting excuses keep you stuck? One of the greatest lessons you can learn is that you don't need to feel ready to start. You just need to start. You don't need all the answers. You don't need perfect conditions. You just need to take the first step. Because once you do, something incredible happens. You begin to build momentum. And momentum is what separates those who succeed from those who don't. Look at the most successful people in any field. They are not the ones who had everything figured out from the beginning. They are the ones who took action despite uncertainty. They are the ones who started when they weren't ready. They are the ones who faced failure, but instead of quitting, they learned from it and kept going. And that's the key. Failure is not what leads to regret. Inaction is. When you take action, you might fail, but failure teaches you lessons. It makes you stronger. It gives you experience. It moves you forward. But when you do nothing, you learn nothing. You grow nothing. You remain exactly where you are, watching time pass, feeling powerless to change. Regret is not just about missed opportunities. It's about the version of yourself you could have been. The healthier, stronger, wiser, more successful version of you that never came to be because you chose comfort over effort. Imagine yourself 5, 10, or 20 years from now. What would your future self say to you? Would they thank you for the actions you took today? Or would they look at you with disappointment, wishing you had made different choices? Life is short, and the worst thing you can do is spend it looking back, wishing you had done more. Every day you hesitate, every day you put off taking action, you are writing another chapter of regret in your life story. But you have the power to change that. You have the power to start now. Whatever it is that you've been avoiding, whether it's improving your health, building a business, fixing a relationship, or developing a new skill, take action today. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Even if it's just a small step, take it, because small steps lead to big changes. And the only way to create a future without regret is to take action now. The pain of effort is temporary. The pain of regret lasts forever. The choice is yours.